Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. I'm Alexander, and here we dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs and marketing innovators. Each episode, we uncover the challenges, triumphs, and unique strategies of our amazing guests, giving you valuable insights and inspiration. Our goal is to build a community of growth-oriented professionals ready to learn, collaborate, and thrive in the ever-evolving world of digital marketing. So whether you're here for the latest trends or looking for that next big idea, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Today, we've got Chase Buckner, the Director of Product Marketing at Go High Level. Chase has been in the digital marketing space for over 10 years and even pioneering remote work before it was cool and opening his own co-working space in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. Chase, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. So I grew up just outside of Philadelphia in the United States, and I went to college there to be an English teacher. So I graduated, taught high school English for a couple of years, and then basically realized I wasn't ready in my life to sort of commit to that career path for the next 35 year whatever years of my life. I had a bit of wanderlust, and so a friend of mine and I decided to do a road trip across the United States and then from California down to Costa Rica. And when I committed to that, I knew I wasn't going back to teaching, but I didn't have enough money saved up to do a 6-month trip just out of savings. So I was going to have to work along the way. And when I started looking into options, a friend of mine had opened up an online refurbished cell phone store. And so he needed help with digital marketing, customer service. So I started working with him, and that was really what started my journey into digital marketing. When I got to, long story short, we got to Puerto Vallarta and we never made it any further than there. I feel like sort of fate stepped in. I had a little laptop charger issue that kept us there for a while, and then we really fell in love with the city. And so I ended up taking a job as a webmaster for the number one luxury travel company in Mexico. And I don't think I was quite qualified at that time, but I'm a quick learner, and it really gave me the opportunity to teach myself WordPress, learn, I spent a lot of time watching like Whiteboard Fridays with Rand Fishkin and, learning SEO and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, I left that company to start my own agency with a friend that I had met in Puerto Vallarta. That failed very quickly. We were both what I would say integrators, and neither one of us wanted to function as the salesperson. And so that fizzled out in about a year, which was right when we had my wife and I had our first child. So that was great timing. And then I went on the lookout. So I was listening to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk at the time, learning a lot about myself, facing sort of truths of like, okay, how do I do this better the next time? Well, I don't want to be the CEO salesperson, so why don't I go find that person? So actually, through Gary Vaynerchuk in an interview he did, I found a guy named Matt Coffey, and then we went on to build a 7-figure agency over the next 7-ish years. We became one of the very first customers of High Level. And quickly after I got the opportunity to join the team, and that was about 5.5 years ago. And that's just been an insane ride. I think I was employee number 12, and now we're over 1,200 employees. So it's been some rocket ship like growth, and it's been a wild adventure so far.
Oh my goodness, yes. And then I'm sure that COVID helped fuel that growth as well.
It did. When COVID happened, we were all very nervous about what it would mean for the business. And it just accelerated the growth, really.
Yeah, because businesses got kind of stuck and the only thing that they had was digital marketing. So how do you take
Yeah.
advantage of that? Um, all right, just a quick question about your
Mhm.
career.
Yeah.
Did you finally end up going to Costa Rica at one point or never?
I did. And I went through High Level. We sponsored an event called the Commitment Summit. And I got to go speak to an audience of like, I don't know, 100 or something marketers and agency owners in Costa Rica. So I did finally make it. Yes.
Fulfilled your original plan.
Yep. And to be honest, it was great because I think I had it really built up in my mind and it confirmed that I actually like Puerto Vallarta a lot more. So it was good.
And so you've been living there for the past basically 10, no, is that 15 years?
Yeah, it's been 15 years now. Basically, when we decided to spend the last couple of months of our trip in Puerto Vallarta, at right at the end of that, I ended up meeting Monica, who would become my wife. So I've been here ever since.
Okay, so on top of being stuck, you found love.
That's
That's
right.
amazing story. Um, all right. So can you tell us a little bit about like exactly what is your role at Go High Level, and then we'll talk about Go, or maybe we should talk about Go High Level first for
Sure.
people that don't know, and then talk really about what you do at this company.
Sure thing. So High Level is an all-in-one sales and marketing CRM. So it's sort of, we like to think of it as a marketer's toolkit. Pretty much any feature that you would need to build funnels, to do online marketing, to manage sales and pipelines, even build courses and communities now, schedule social media content, all of that stuff in one place. Um, which was really sort of every agency, every marketer's dream, right? When we were building our agency, with every client that we would take on, we would have to piece together different softwares to execute their goals, right? And with that comes a ton of challenges. The connections break, pricing structures make it expensive. The pricing is always changing as you add more contacts and stuff. And so High Level came around and we really wanted to be anti that. Instead of building software and trying to sell it directly to local businesses, businesses in general, like most software does, um, we built it and sold it directly to agencies and marketers, people that actually knew what to do with the software, how to implement it. And we priced it in a way that was friendly for them, a flat fee, no per contact limit, no per user limit. And we took it one step further and made it white label. So an agency can actually resell it to their customers as their own software. And now they can offer software along with services, which has a much lower churn rate than services. And so I think the combination of those things is really what fueled our, what I would say, historic growth.
Amazing. And and so you're the director of product marketing. So what exactly do you do at Go High Level? Do you talk about the company to other agencies, or do you try to make it known to the whole
Yeah,
public?
absolutely. So we have a very difficult job in product marketing at High Level because we release so many features. Pretty much every day, about I would say 6 to 12 new things go live, um, which is crazy, right? I heard the CEO of Airbnb give an interview a couple of months ago, and he said that they have two releases a year, so they have 6 months to plan for each release, and um, at High Level, we basically don't even know a lot of things go live until they go live, and so the challenge is how do we keep our customers and the market aware of all of the things that you can do with High Level, when new things come out every day. And so that's really our main job, is to help educate customers, our affiliate base, potential customers, as to what you can do with High Level, the problems that you can solve, the value that it can bring to your business.
So yeah, and then every day. And so how do you stay on top of all the features? Because you said like sometimes you don't even know a new feature is coming on until
Yeah.
it's coming. Do you guys have like a community, or how are you being aware, and how do you also test those new features so you can understand them and explain them to current customers and potential customers?
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool. I would say the culture of High Level has always been, we have an internal mantra called the skateboard method, which is counter to the way most companies are run. Meaning, most companies will say, okay, we're going to go build this thing. And then they go build it for, I don't know, 4 months, 6 months, till they think it's awesome. And then they release it to their customers. Um, and to carry the metaphor, they went and built a car, right? And then they deliver it to their customers. And the problem is, oftentimes you deliver it, and your community, your customers say, wait a minute, this isn't what we wanted. We wanted a motorcycle and you guys just took 6 months to give us a car. Um, and so the skateboard method is, hey, what's the minimum viable thing that will put them in motion that we can put out? Let's put that out as fast as possible. And then let the community tell us how it needs to evolve from there. Does it need to become a bicycle and then a motorcycle and then a full-blown car? Or most of the time, it doesn't really need to go past, let's say, moped phase to meet their actual needs. And so when you have a culture like that, there's really a lot less pressure when it comes uh, to everything really. And so um, with all the releases, we basically came up with a system where we categorize them and we look at, okay, this release, is it a T1 or a T4? If it's a T1, then it needs the full marketing machine behind it, which means we're going to get a how-to video made. We're going to get a social media video made. We're going to do this, that, the other thing. Versus if it's a T3, we basically just go make a social media sort of quick little announcement video and we move on. And so, the T1s we obviously have prep time for. It's the T3s and the twos that sort of pop up and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that was ready already. And we go from there. So, it's not, we really try to focus on the features that are going to really move needles for people. And then the other ones, yes, we want to quickly announce them and put them on social media and whatnot, but um, they should just sort of be intuitive enough in the app that people discover them in their daily usage.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. And so when we talk about those T1, how do you prepare the marketing for this type of releases? Because I imagine those are like basically like a big part of the system, and then you add on to this, T1, I would say, releases, and those are the T3, T4, or etc. So
Yeah.
how do you prepare on the marketing side for this kind of releases?
So a big reason for high levels overall success is our referral program. So we pay a 40% recurring commission for any affiliate of high level. So you don't even have to be a customer, but if recommend high level to somebody and they sign up through your link, we'll pay you 40% of every payment that they make. So it's very lucrative. I think it's the most lucrative in the industry. And we look at our affiliates as our sales team. So we don't have an internal sales team, right? Most software companies, they go raise venture capital to build a sales team, to pound the phones and the emails of local businesses, medium-sized businesses, enterprise, whatever it is. And it's just this sort of game of like, okay, we need to get enough users to get the next round of investment, to pay more salespeople to go get the next crop of users. Um, and so, 90% of software companies are not actually profitable, right? They all operate under this promise that someday, if we wanted to stop taking more money and turn some switches, we could actually make a profit here. But we've been the opposite. We've been bootstrapped from day one, and we've grown through sharing that revenue with our affiliates. And so when we plan marketing releases, we plan with the affiliates, right? So it's like, okay, what assets can we build that we can share with them so that they'll be excited to go tell their communities about the new thing? And it works pretty well. We do view them as partners, and so yeah, we plan the releases with them, try to arm them with the assets that they need that'll get them excited to go share the word.
And so you have a $0 digital marketing budget, or a little bit.
It's not zero, but it's definitely a tiny fraction of what you would expect from a company our size. We do have paid ad budgets, but it's nothing significant, I would say, if you were to compare it to other SaaS companies at this level.
So basically, using social network, because your social network are really the user base to become your evangelists, and make sure that everything you build makes sense for all of the users.
Absolutely, because when you sit down and think about it, it's sort of, why would you want to do it any other way? And we
It's
talked.
pretty rare. It's not pretty rare, but it's funny that to imagine that you have a software companies, they're not like, okay, we're gonna think about this and we're gonna think about the best way that we think is the best way for our customers.
Yeah.
And you guys is literally the opposite. It's like, hey guys, what are we building next? Almost. It's like, oh, we had this idea. What do you guys think about it? And then you're excited. Okay, let's go and let's do it. And then bring us
Yeah,
some
we have
some
an
some
ideas
people.
board where our customers vote up what they want us to build next, and we use that to guide the roadmap. Um, but I think, we were talking a little bit before we started recording about, marketing strategies in general, especially for businesses that are just getting started. And you mentioned cold outreach, which I think is terrible. And I think the way that you want to do it is scaled outreach, right? You want to try to get on podcasts that already have communities of your potential customers, because if you do one good podcast, it could bring you a dozen, 100 customers in one shot, as opposed to having to send, I don't know, 10,000 emails to get a dozen customers. So I think that the referral program model is way more scalable, but like you said, it's rare. And I guess because I don't know, it takes hard work, but it also takes humility, and you have to, I don't know what. It's interesting. I'd have to sit down and really explore why it's not more popular, but it is such a more scalable model when you think about it.
And so at Pentelope were customers of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that you also have every year you have some award program as well for the best affiliate people, kind of like almost creators on YouTube that gets their
Yeah.
plaque with like the amount of views, and you kind of guys do the same thing with the amount of affiliates, correct?
Yeah, we celebrate both sides. So we celebrate our affiliates, and we have several different awards that they can win, based on the levels that they hit. One of them being an electric car of their choice. When you hit a certain tier, we'll buy you any electric car that you want. And so I think we've given away um, over 20 of those at this point. But we also celebrate our what we call our SaaSpreneurs. So the folks that white label high level and sell it as their own software. Um, the first award that you can win is when you get to your 100th SaaS customer. And so that's a big, cool plaque award. And then there are levels to that. And we're going to introduce a new level at our big event next month, actually in October. And so, yeah, we celebrate both sides of the fence. And it's just a really great way to again deepen the relationship between us and our customers.
And so with that very unique, I would say, approach to marketing a digital product, how do you like, how do you measure, or what do you measure as far as efficacy on the different type of advertising? Because we talked, you have a little bit of digital marketing. I'm sure you have email marketing as well, just to keep constant contact with everybody, and then Facebook groups. So how do you, I would say, like, how do you segment, or what do you measure as far as what works and what doesn't?
Sure. So obviously, some things are very easy to measure, very cut and dry, and some things are not. But to give you an example, if let's say you had a big community of marketers, you've got a YouTube channel, you teach them how to build funnels, I don't know. And we get in touch and say, hey, we'd love to join you on your show sometime to teach them something about what they like to hear, right? Something about funnel building. So we come on, we educate the audience, and then at the end, we mention high level, and we tell them if they're interested to sign up, they can get an extended free trial by using the host's affiliate link. So then it's very easy for us to then go and watch their link and see if they start getting trials generated through it, right? And if they get, I don't know, let's say they get 24 trials, then that was a really successful motion, right? The time that we put into booking that YouTube episode or that webinar or whatever was pretty successful. We'll do the same thing with events, right? If a marketer is having a big event, we'll sponsor it, we'll fly in, we'll push that affiliate's link throughout the event, And then we can very clearly measure the results of how many trials were generated through that. And again, it's a shared win, right? So we're getting customers, but that host is also getting 40% of every customer's payment. So again, we're in it together as partners.
It's fascinating. And so, how big is your community on? I think on Facebook you have a Go High Level community group, right? How do you know
Yeah, we do.
how many people on that group? Because I know that there are plenty of other groups that kind of popped up out of nowhere, but the official community.
I'm checking right now, and it's currently 79.7 thousand members.
Wow, that's pretty crazy when you think about it. For
Yes.
such a specialized software, you know?
Yes, it is. It's been pretty cool. It's an amazing community. I've never seen anything so active, to be honest. And it's always fun for our internal community team to manage. But yeah, it's been pretty cool.
And so what do you I would say like what are your top three KPIs that you measure at least on a monthly basis to make sure that Go High Level, at least your part of Go High Level, is going in the right direction?
Interesting question. So yeah, obviously our KPIs are specific to what we do, but we measure things like because we also own the help docs side of things with product marketing. And as part of that, like we have this program called the Content Army. And so we actually, when a new feature rolls out, if we need a how-to video for it, we post it as a contest for our Content Army. And the winning video gets paid, I don't know, let's say $400 or something. And then we take that video, put it in our YouTube channel, and then we put it into our help docs. So we KPI, how many videos are being produced, how many plays that they're generating, are there trials being generated from, because you get paid if you win, but you also get paid like let's say $30 or $50 just for participating and putting your entry on your own YouTube channel. So now we have, let's say 20 channels that just put up a how-to video on that new feature, and they all use their affiliate links in the description. So we can measure, how many trials those have generated in the process. We obviously track like the usage statistics of the product each month. We track negative feedback across our help docs, which is a very useful metric for us to know, are we doing a better and better job at educating people when they're looking for help, things like that. Our team owns templates, so we measure the usage of all the templates across the system, things like that. And then we support other teams. So like when you sign up for high level, you immediately started getting nurtured to join your kickoff call, which is a live Zoom call with our kickoff team. And statistically, if you attend your kickoff call, you're like 70% more likely to be a successful high leveler. Um, so we support them in, constantly optimizing their nurture flows and things like that. So we measure things like how many people are clicking into their kickoff calls, and stuff like that. So lots of different metrics that we measure, but it all collectively adds up to, our people adopting and using the platform more and more. And then we have a whole nother side of marketing called customer marketing, and their metrics are all really focused around top of funnel, like how many trials are being generated and where are they coming from.
So basically, every time you think about how to, I would say, go high level, is how can we crowdsource the marketing efforts almost, and really make sure that everybody gets involved in the effort. Is like how do we generate sufficient interest for people to really do work for, not really do work for us, but to be really part of a community and really push Go High Level as like a the users are basically pushing the software, which is pretty interesting model. um and so a question I always ask is, what marketing strategy you found the most effective? Well, it looks like we already got our answer. Is like, how do you make your user market the business for yourself? Uh,
Absolutely.
which
And
is
again, I think it's
fascinating.
it's not super common, but I guess one challenge to it is that from the beginning, you have to price your product high enough to be able to share some of the profits with an affiliate if you want to go this route. Um, and I guess probably a lot of products don't. And then by the time they realize, oh my gosh, we should have this affiliate program, they don't really have enough profit margin to share. And so it's not a very appealing program. So there are pros and cons to that, but I think just the general. So we have another mantra that we think about a lot, which is capture, nurture, close. And in the early days, it was like, okay, we're going to build features that help you capture, nurture, close customers. And for a couple of years, that was stuck in the back of my mind, and it felt a little incomplete. And so I expanded it to two more layers. So capture, nurture, close, evangelize, and reactivate. And I think those two pieces really get forgotten by most businesses when they think about marketing, right? And there's so much more juice to squeeze if you evangelize your customers, turn one customer into many, right? Do you have a referral program? Do you consistently ask for reviews? Do you literally, I mean, in the early days of high level, it was calling every customer and say, do you know another person who might like our software? Could you pass us their email so that we can reach out? Or could you CC us on an email to them? Right? If you take the time to actually do that, you can create network effects, right? But I think people, for whatever reason, overlook it. And then the reactivation piece again, right? Like how often are you reaching out to your customers and your past leads with new offers, new stories? Um, that's again, it's a way to turn one customer into repeat sales, to squeeze more juice out of your efforts. And I think those two pieces really often get overlooked. We really just businesses focus on leads and sales, and they don't think
That's it.
beyond that. When really it's more cost effective to turn your customers into, repeat buyers or evangelists, recommenders. Let them go find you more customers. Um, and so, yeah, that would be my advice: is to be cognizant of that whole sort of flywheel, right? Capture, nurture, close, and then evangelize and reactivate.
And how did you come up with those percentage or referral fees? Because when you hear 40%, that sounds almost extreme,
Mm-hmm.
but you know,
Yeah,
from
it's a
the
good
from your
question.
look and your calmness, it seems like, yep, makes sense.
um, that was determined not by me. So you'd have to get that answer from one of the co-founders.
Okay.
I don't know how they arrived on that exact number. I could probably guess that they looked at the industry and went just a little bit above whatever they saw was the best. Um, and yeah, and it's worked out really well. We've seen a lot of our competitors have to sort of back down and make their programs worse or lower, or say, okay, fine, we'll pay 30% or whatever, but only for the first year, and then it stops, or things like that. And we've been able to keep it going at 40% recurring, lifetime commission, and it's served us well.
Cool. And so, it seems to me that you always try to come up with, new ideas. So how much do I would say, like, how much do you experiment in all those ideas, and how do you said, okay, we're gonna keep doing this, or we're not gonna keep, like, how do you measure the success of a new experiment, and how I would say, like, how risky do you get now that you have 1,200 employees? So I'm sure in the beginning it was a little bit more of like, let's try this, let's try that, and now I'm sure it's a little bit more matured and a little bit more serious. Or you still
Yeah,
crazy?
That's a great question. And I would say, again, because we have a culture from the top, from the co-founders, that has always been, another sort of internal mantra is just always be taking directionally accurate, imperfect action. So it's not expected that your ideas are going to be perfect. What is expected is that you make the best guess and then go do something as a test. Because then we know very quickly if it's a good idea or if it's a bad idea. But the worst thing that you could do is sit around for a month thinking about it. And so, that's always the pressure from above is like, what's the idea and when are you testing it? Right. Um, and so even as we've gotten bigger, yes, the stakes are higher, but you've got more awesome people in the room to help you make better hypotheses, I would say. Hypotheses, what's the plural of that? Um, and so I think more often than not, we're directionally accurate. And again, that's the goal, right? Perfection doesn't exist. Let's just make sure we're heading in the right direction. And and it's usually pretty obvious right away, right? Before the metrics even come in, because the community is so vibrant and you pretty much know right away if something's going to be a hit or if it's going to be a flop because you just see posts and comments like lighting up in the Facebook group, one way or the other.
Okay, so the feedback I would say on anything you guys release is pretty instant if it's going to be a success or a flop.
Pretty much. I mean, I think the community is definitely the what do they call that? The bellwether, the flag or whatever that you see right away. Like, okay, this looks like it's going to be awesome, or this is not resonating. And then you go to the data and wait for the data to come in, but it usually backs up, the mood of the community, I would say.
Is there any upcoming project you're very excited about?
Great question. Um, I'm very excited about internationalization. So this year we rolled out a native WhatsApp integration, which is pretty cool. So there's only a handful of companies in the world that have access to the Meta API for WhatsApp. So the team's been really building that out fast, adding all sorts of awesome features to that, which is huge because text message marketing, as I'm sure you know, isn't the case around in a lot of countries around the world. Like in Mexico, nobody sends SMS. Everybody uses WhatsApp. Um, so now we're really focused on, internationalizing the language within the app, and then making sure that we have the major payment gateways in key markets around the world. And we actually opened up our payments API, so anybody could build in a payment gateway if we don't get to it as fast as you need it. So like Razor Pay is very big in India. We just rolled out a native integration for that. So internationalization is something I'm really excited about. And then I'm also really excited about custom objects. So I think we've always been sort of, again, the marketer's toolkit, with a very functional CRM, but you wouldn't compare to an enterprise CRM. However, over the past couple of years, we have had a lot of business jump over from like HubSpot as they continue to scale their pricing
Wow.
more enterprise. And now we're going to deliver that enterprise level functionality that they miss, which is things like custom objects in the CRM, relationships between custom objects. So, if you know what that is, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. It's sort of what separates a small business CRM from an enterprise CRM, and that's in beta right now with a group of customers, and so that'll come out very soon. And I think when that does, it'll be really hard to justify paying for something like Salesforce or HubSpot, when you can get it at flat pricing with high level.
That is pretty exciting. Yes, indeed, because that's always, and I know from experience, always the issue with companies like HubSpot or Salesforce that are very, very custom and for that couple of percent of scenarios that you need to have it. And if you don't have it, then business gets a lot more complex. So now, maybe we'll not put the hashtag, but HubSpot and Salesforce better watch out.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
actually
that's
more common than you think, right? Because when you think about anything that involves, let's say you work with schools or whatever, well, there's a child, but the child has parents and, there's a relationship there. Or, a business has jobs and the job, has an internal owner and it has the customer. There's cars, right? Auto businesses deal with customers, but also cars, and one car can be associated with multiple customers. And so it's actually really
veterinary
common.
clinics,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes,
It's really
pets.
common.
uh,
Um, And so it's been a missing piece, and it's been a ton of work on the back end for sure, because there's so much crazy logic that goes into managing that. But yeah, it's basically ready to go live. So I'm really excited to see that roll out.
So basically, in the next couple of years, you're taking over the world.
We'll see. That's the mission.
All right, cool. And then my final question is can be an hour discussion, but the idea is to get a short answer. What are
Mhm.
you excited about in the world of digital marketing, and what are you worried about?
Oh, great question. Um, I guess I'm excited. I'm excited about the same thing that has always excited me, which has been true to my life, which is if you learn these skills, you'll never starve. You can very easily thrive, and you can thrive from anywhere you want in the world, right? If you become a skilled digital marketer, you can work with clients from wherever you want. So you can travel, you can be a digital nomad, you can live abroad. And I think that's amazing because I think a lot of people settle into a career which locks them geographically, which ends up leading to a lot of regret in your life. You know, what would my life have been like if I would have actually moved to the beach, which is where I want to be, or moved to the mountains so that I could ski or snowboard as much as I want to, or live in a city, whatever it may be. And so that's what excites me the most. I think, there are new skills to be learned, like AI. I think, most marketers are going to have to probably learn how to prompt. But if you learn those skills, you can really, create a lot of options for yourself. What I'm most worried about is sort of the bro effect, right? The Lamborghini culture, the distractions that have somehow become associated with digital marketing. I think we have some gurus out there, unfortunately, that are just, I don't know, leading young, predominantly men astray with these ideas that you can very quickly make a ton of money with sort of digital marketing scammy sort of things. I think the truth is digital marketing requires a lot of time and effort, right? You have to self study, you have to put in the time and experiment and be willing to work for free, right? Hey, okay, I know how to build websites, but I don't know SEO. Well, great. I need to go do SEO for free for X amount of people until I feel like I have gotten good at it. And I think there's this tendency that it's like, oh, if you just listen to me, I'll teach you how to be a coach of something that you haven't put the time in to gain the authority to coach on, and that's going
Yeah,
to
be an
somehow
expert
make
of
you
digital
rich.
marketing in 1 week.
Yeah, exactly. I think this idea that, hey, you could go build a community right now and people are going to pay you and you're going to get rich off of your community that you haven't put the 10,000
Time
hours
and
into
effort.
building
Yeah.
the skill around. Um, and I guess that's what worries me. I have three boys. They're all still too young to worry about this stuff. But as they come of age, I think it's important to have great role models. And for me, it was Gary Vee. I always thought Gary Vaynerchuk was very misunderstood. And when you actually listen to him, he was telling you to do the hard work and make sure that you don't overpromise things and stuff like that. And so I think that's important. I hope that we continue to have voices that guide young men in that direction, and we keep digital marketing as in a good space.
Yeah, but you look at yourself, go high level, kind of skyrocketed, but behind that, it's been 10 years you're working in the space. And so
Absolutely, yeah.
and that's how it works. No, I totally agree. And I totally agree that like it's important to be a lifelong learner, be curious, and nothing comes easy. Just needs to
Absolutely.
to work it out.
And not only does it not come easy, but you should enjoy the journey, the pain, the learning, that process, right? For me, looking back, I told you that that agency, the first agency that I started, failed within a year, and it was when I had my first son. That sounds horrible and scary, right? But when I think back, it was one of the best years of my life. Me and some buddies had a shared office space that, turned into a co-working space. And yeah, we had no money, but we were really having the time of our lives. And I had a baby at that time. I have no idea how we afforded things back then, but I look back on it very fondly. And I hope that others can get into that mind space where you're excited about that journey and the challenge of every step of it, and that you're not in this mindset of like, how do I go from zero to rich as fast as possible?
Very exciting conversation today. Very a true conversation, a real conversation, I would say. No, that was really nice. Very exciting. Very exciting to hear about a business ideas that is, marketed a digital business in digital marketing that is basically using totally different ways of marketing, totally I don't know if it's innovative, but really, unique, I would say, um, to grow. And now it was a true pleasure to have you on the podcast. I wish you enormous luck and success. And maybe in a couple of years we'll talk about, and you'll be in I don't know which country, because that's where the new headquarters will be. I don't know. That's pretty crazy, but
Absolutely. I mean, definitely. I think that you'll
maybe.
see us start to put on events on other side, the other side of the world. We actually have an official entity in India now. So, internationalization is something that we're really committed to. And we want to meet more and
Amazing.
more of our community around the world.
Super. Chase, thank you so much, and I hope we'll have you soon on the podcast again.
Thank you so much for having me. And if you're interested in checking out High Level, be sure to use Alexander's affiliate link.
Yes, we'll put that in the description.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.